Hello and welcome back to the Star Wars Millennium Falcon Lego mega build thing I'm doing. After last time's ludicrously long video, it was like 2 hours, I'm going to start off by I'm going to set a timer on my phone here for 1 hour and 50 minutes. We'll keep it tight, you know, a tight 1 hour 50. 35 minutes, that seems reasonable. That was a near miss. So we're on bag 2. Start off by opening all the bags up. I think, looking at the pictures, what we're doing is we're going to take this framework and we're going to build legs on it. I believe that's the rough structure. So the mic's here. I'm thinking if I open the bags at a huge distance like this, they'll be less incredibly loud. So far, this looks more reasonable. I think that's it. That's all there is for bag 2. It's not actually that many. Typically, this may actually be more practical and bag 2 won't take me long. So the first step is making 6 kind of leg-like things from these little bits of hell. There's no order to any of this, is there? They're just all over the shop. Okay, all right. Start with this. Search for 10 to 15 minutes for the PC1. Okay. Oh, what am I looking for? So too wide. It's got some sort of flanges to it. Ah, here they are. It wasn't so much finding them as it was finding what bag they came out of. There we go. We're on the road now. Now what? One of you? No, not one of you. One of you. Now like that. Weird looking grey piece with you. How's that go on? Goes like that. It's going to take me a while to remember how to really not read the instructions, but read the instructions essentially. That is an issue. It's fallen into the box of mysteries. Gonna make that a problem for my future self, because otherwise I'll never get anywhere. Okay, so there's that. Oh, there's loads of shit on this one actually. Some of these little ones, yeah. So what's been going on in the world recently? Nothing good. Quite frankly, a lot of people used to say, it's all gone to shit now, and they were wrong. But indeed, now things are really going to shit, aren't they? The world is in quite a state. I try not to read the news. It doesn't help, and that attitude also doesn't help. I'm going to shift away from politics as swiftly as possible. It's the first sunny day of the year. I'm actually very hot right now, honestly. Okay, right, so set that aside. And look for some grey blocks. There we are. Through the leftmost one. Just had some breakfast. Saturday morning, for reference. Leftover mashed potato from last night. Heated up in the microwave. I chucked in some diced pepperoni. So when it heated up, the oil would come out and just take a bit of the dryness off the mash, which loses overnight. Plus add a little bit more kick to the flavour, which it also loses overnight, somehow, mashed potato. I think it's because the fat in it sort of solidifies, so it stops being throughout it, and you get a less even distribution of the flavour. That'd be my assumption. I couldn't say without further study. This is very complicated, this little flat thing. There's a lot of stuff going on it. I don't fully understand some of the intricacies yet. There's a lot to it. And I've got to make 6 of them. In fact, I'm going to do this page 6 times because I'm sure I'm going to regret this decision, but I'm going to do it. 1. I'm not going to count them all out, that's dumb. Been going for a weird state game-wise where I recently... I finished playing something that had been taking a lot of my time. It was like every moment of free time I had, I'd go and play this game. Can't think what that game is right now. And like, after that happens, I always have... I go into one of 2 states where I immediately move on to something fresh and involving, or I don't. Civ, I was playing a lot of Civ 6. Still haven't brought the expansion. I'm going to buy it, but I feel I must wait until it comes on sale. 4 plus that one's 5. One more. I think it's called Rise and Fall. Because the thing is, even if it's not a good expansion, I play so much Civ that just anything new is what I need. Right, good. Now I'll put about 4 of these on. Benefit of using this method is that when I move on to later steps, there'll be less pieces hindering my progress. The downside of doing this is if I mess something up or it's got to be mirrored or something, I'll have messed it up many, many times over. Just a flat grey. Doesn't seem to exist. I'll assume it doesn't. Boom. Shake the room. I'd like the record to show, because this is quite early on in this video, I may have... I'm not sure if I actually did or not. I may have given some like free stuff away somewhere in the midst of the other video, on the assumption that no one will ever actually watch the whole thing, because it's too long and it is very dry material. And it's on YouTube. If I released it as like a podcast, say, something you could listen to while being a bit more mobile, it could have got some more play, but that's more work than I'm willing to do. I'm definitely looking for something, but I don't know what. Could it be that? Okay. Okay, let's storm ahead. Let's put all these onto these things. This is the best bit, putting them on the big bits. That's what you live for in this game. I'm still missing one. It's gonna be it, I know it. They wouldn't let me down this early on. They'd save it into a more integral piece of the mechanism. I need that anyway. It's like this, only without the holes in and smaller. Let's start to put those where they belong. That way I won't be so distracted by them. There's a lot of them as well. Does the Millennium Falcon have 6 legs? Ah, there it is. It is legs I'm building, I'm pretty sure of that. So that goes like that. And that goes on there. Last flat panel piece. Have I seen any films since last we spoke? I feel I must have, because I'm kind of ahead of the game on recording these for a change. I normally whatever video comes out Tuesday will always be like the shortest amount of time between recording and actual release. Generally it will be recorded on the Saturday and then released on the Tuesday, whereas most other videos they'll be several weeks in advance. So if you ever see something weird happens on a Tuesday video slot, you know that something has happened to me. Like I've fallen ill, or I got really lazy and I couldn't be asked to do anything. Right, that's good. Done that. We're We're on to the third step. Ah yes, this is the one that's going to screw me over. It's these little pieces that I dropped 2 of a minute ago. Where does it go? On the end. I don't know why it tells you to put them together before you put them on. It's actually many steps easier to put them together on the thing. Maybe it's because if they did it that way you wouldn't be able to tell there's supposed to be 2 of them. Right, now I've got to find them. Now, the thing is, they fell into the box of mystery. There's no bottom to the box, so in theory, if I lift it up, that didn't help. It didn't have a huge amount of velocity, so they should have hit the floor and just not moved too much. Okay, what have we got? My microphone's wired in, so I can't move too aggressively. I've narrowed it down. They must be in the box. Oh, I found a moth. Wow, the underside of this table is filthy. Simpsons trading cards. Nope. Let's just start taking things out. That's the easiest way. There's the Guide to Children of Mana, obviously. Pristine condition boxes for a lot of GBA games, including Metroid Zero Mission. There's Lord of the Rings Top Trumps. This is the card from Spyro Year of the Dragon. Ooh, some pins. That is exciting. But none of these is... Oh, hello. But none of these is what I'm looking for. Some Star Wars Top Trumps. A lot of Top Trumps, apparently. Might have gone the other way. No, definitely didn't. Is it on me? No. Right. This is gonna cause issues. I'm gonna ignore it. What I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna not build that 6th leg, and hopefully it won't come back to haunt me. That's a solid plan, isn't it? Because I got to assemble all these anyway. I've got time before it becomes an issue. I'm procrastinating my worries is what I'm doing. It's not a good plan. It's the one I live with though. Why don't they give me spares of the bits I lose? The spares, to my knowledge, I've never needed. Yet when there is one I want, I can't have it. I could rip apart something else I've got. That feels like it will be a fairly commonish bit. That's not right, is it? That's totally out. It's really on there. I would like it if this set had come with a more impressive one of these as well. Little brick separator thing. I don't know how you could make it more impressive, but I feel they could find a way. Just make it black. That's enough. I'm easily satiated. Easily something. Easily, I don't know. There we are. Got that going. I watched Dusk Till Dawn last night, or Until Dusk Till Dawn. I can't actually remember what the full title is because I've never even looked at it. I watched it on Blu-ray. It was Friday the 13th. It felt like the exact sort of film you should watch on Friday the 13th. Aside from obviously Friday the 13th, that would be the exact sort of film you should watch. I'd not seen it before. I knew roughly the thing that if you've not seen Dusk Till Dawn before, it's a good film. It's not a great film. It's a good film. I think it's Robert Rodriguez and George Clooney in it. George Clooney, by the way, one of those. He's a big actor. Name his biggest role. Like, if you're going to name someone like, I don't know, let's say like Brad Pitt's biggest role, you'd probably say something like a Fight Club, maybe, or I don't know, Benjamin Button. Let's go with that one. Not just a big role that's very much their film, and it did well, either critically or money wise. George Clooney's one is like Ocean's 11, Batman. Back to the matter at hand. So the whole thing with Dusk Till Dawn is, it starts off where it's about two criminals, two fugitives, if you will, on the run from the law, trying to get to Mexico. Essentially, that's the crux. Eventually, they kidnap this family, sort of hijack their RV, and they're using it to cross the border. It's all very serious. Just a general crime movie. Is that it? Yep. And then out of nowhere, like, what, 40 minutes into the film, for like a good halfway through, maybe even more, when they're in this bar in Mexico, and it just turns out they're all I've missed a load of steps. Turns out it's a vampire bar, and they're all trying to kill them and eat them with, well, but both good and bad vampire effects. They had unusual choices, and then two characters just sort of kind of muscle their way in. It's a very odd film. It's almost like two separate screenplays, or a film where one director started it, he like got the first 45 minutes worth of screen time, and another director got the other half, but they never spoke about what they were actually doing. They just said to him, all right, you second half guy who's known for B horror movies specifically, you're doing a you're doing a vampire film or something, and these are your characters, nothing more. It's debatable. A few gruesome scenes as well, not more funny gruesome than anything else. That's going well. It's going very well indeed. It's actually quite good doing all well, 5 of these now, not 6 of these at once, because it means I know all the steps, but I didn't do them all at once, so I wouldn't forget them, although I did actually forget a number of steps, didn't I? So that's actually a bit of a moot point. Or as Joey would say, a moo point. You know, it's moo, it's just irrelevant, because it's what a cow would say. Supposed to be going to see Rampage tonight, a film which I'm sure came out of nowhere. Like I remember, the most I remember hearing was, oh yeah, they're thinking about making a Rampage movie from the game Rampage, and it's going to have The Rock in it. And then like a week later, it's like, yeah, it's coming out next week. I'm like, what? Did I miss some steps here? Did I just not pay attention? Or more likely, films in this country just don't have that big of a trail you'll start seeing like the marketing for them, and then they'll be out like a month later. That's it. There's no very occasionally you'll get something that gets like a long sort of 6 month or even sometimes even as much as a year like sort of trail for them. And normally all that happens for me is I just get confused and think like I'll see a trailer for a film, and if it hasn't come out a few months later, I'll suddenly think, oh, I guess that film just never came out then, or it was out for a week and I missed it, or maybe it didn't get picked up by the film chain I go to. These are such a bastard. There's these little wedge pieces. When they're upside down, they look like the flat pieces. It gets me every time. What was that one I put aside? I can do some bits of this at least. I'll leave it in a good state to move forward with. There we are. So I've been playing Sleeping Dogs quite a bit, the definitive edition no less, which is an odd kind of irony because the first time I played Sleeping Dogs, I played it on PC anyway, at the time a high-end PC for the game, so I could play it on decent settings. So when the definitive edition was coming out, I was like, kind of already had that experience, guys. But I think I got it free on Humble Bundle, and I kind of fancied playing it again anyway because it's a really fun game. It's originally I think it was a sequel to it was like a true crime game, and then they stopped developing for whatever, and was it Square Enix, someone like that, just picked up the rights and finished it off as Sleeping Dogs, and actually made a really good game that not many people are aware of. I played that. I think it came out between, say, GTA 4 and GTA 5. And after playing that, I was like, well, GTA 5 is going to have to do a lot to make a lot of this stuff sort of fun. For example, in Sleeping Dogs, you've got 3 main aspects to that sort of open world game, haven't you? You've got fighting, shootouts, and driving. And they took those 3 and were like, yeah, here's how we're going to do it. Because it's Hong Kong, a lot of it is fist fighting. So he's going to be a martial artist, and it's like a cool counter system, a bit like Batman, or possibly Bayonetta, I suppose. You know, it's all about getting counters rather than just big combos and that. Where the fuck is this piece? Doesn't exist. Well, that doesn't matter because I'm not touching that anymore anyway. Right, they're all good to go. It's good. Actually missed this step quite early on. Now we put all these wedges on. This will take some time. Yeah, so it does the martial arts really well. The gunplay is done in a very much, I want to call it a John Woo style, but I don't know if that's actually accurate in any way. Basically, there's a lot of slow-mo. You can't really aim the guns that well. Like, you're not, if you get a headshot, it's more by luck than anything else. You're more just you're aiming at a person. There's no iron sights or anything. I don't know if there's even any like scopes or anything like that to deal with. But it means the gunplay is really fun. It's quite arcadey. You're meant to do everything at quite a speed. You don't want to sit still. So it's got that going for it. And then the driving, again, it's quite arcadey. Like, a lot of the time you've got to, say, run cars off the road or whatever, or just trash them. And to do that, you've got a full-on like ram. You got a button that makes your car just in forwards, right, left. It will just shunt like massively in that direction to slam people off the road. It's physically impossible, but it is very fun. It makes that element of the game very fun. And now that I've got the definitive edition, it comes with the DLC, of which they did 2 sort of expansion packs, but I haven't really touched them yet. I played one of them in the past anyway, it's quite good. But you also get just all the costume DLC, which sounds like nothing, But actually they've done quite a good job with it, because all the costumes, like the cool ones at least, they give you special perks, but a lot of them are like almost full-on game changers. That's a piece that can go in there. That's good. But there's one you can dress up as the Drunken Master, which is clearly meant to be Jackie Chan from the Drunken Master. I've not seen it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. When you fight, you use his fighting style instead of like your normal martial arts style. Which is quite a big change, really. They didn't need to do it. Makes it fun. Or more fun, I should say. Plus, the whole joke of the game is you're an undercover cop and no one's meant to know, and it's like a big deal if anyone finds out. But I often just go around dressed fully as just a cop, and then arrive on like a police motorcycle, and just adds to the humour of the scene when you're like in a triad meeting and someone accuses you of being a cop and you're just stood there looking like the T-1000 from Terminator. So I'm not a cop, screw you. It's like something out of Naked Gun. It was very satisfying putting these on because there's no guesswork involved in where they can go. Each one has 8 things on it. There's only 8 positions for it to go on. It's nice. I'd say it's very nice. Right, that's most of them done. I've just discovered more of these. I'll put them on as well. In fact, I can put these on here as well because they're not. This is the one that's unfinished because I'm missing the pieces I dropped immediately. But I don't need to. I can keep building it up just as long as I don't bury the bits, the space where they go. And there's every chance that those will never actually do anything anyway. If they're just. I don't really want to have the knowledge on me actually that there's a mistake in this build from bag 2 as well. That will be crippling inside because it was. Once I built this, I'm never going to take it down, am I? It's just going to be there probably forever, or until I move, or until, I don't know, World War III is declared and I get drafted. God, I hope I'm old enough to avoid a draft at this point. I presume I am. I might get lucky though. Technically I've got a degree in chemistry, so in the event of a war-based draft, there's every chance that will come up and it'll be like, oh, yeah, you better not fight on the front lines. We can use you for such and such purpose. And I'll be like, oh, thank God. Thank Christ for that. That's a little bit of insurance. All right, now what? That's done. Small little rods. Whenever it asks you to put in one of these gear rods, always on the page somewhere there'll be a 1-to-1 scale drawing to make sure you don't mess it up. Similarly, I've never ever been in a situation where it's been possible to mess it up because the ones that are even close together in size, they'll make different colours, and they'll normally make them all different colours anyway. Either way, each one of these gets one of these. Meaning it's probably going to be able to turn in some fashion. Or maybe not, actually. That doesn't really make sense. Why would the legs need to turn? There's the broken leg right in front of me. It's actually missing 2 pieces now. There's the ones I dropped, but also another one that I just can't seem to find. It's got to be right. Oh, there. No. I thought I'd tricked myself. It should be right here in front of me, but it doesn't seem to exist. It's here. I've just found it. I probably picked it up earlier and put it down. I feel the right fool. Keep setting that to the side though. I don't want to get too involved in building it. Yeah, because this next bit that's going on will ruin it. I can't build that one any further now. Little circular piece there. So I've been playing Sleeping Dogs. I've been playing this game called, I think it's called Deep Rock Galactic, which I really should do a video in now that I think about it. It's a little early access game where you play as a dwarf, usually on a team of dwarves. You get dumped on sort of like an asteroid, but it's all underground, that much it needs to be said. You get dumped underground and you have to mine. They give you a job to do, like mines, I don't know, mine 100 whatever ore, and you got to go and do it. And you search the asteroids and you come back. I'm describing this awfully, actually, now that I think about it. It's voxel based, I think. It's a bit like, it looks a little bit like No Man's Sky in my mind, which is now a good game, but it wasn't at the time, for a time. So it's supposed to be team-based, and the crux of the matter is, whilst doing these mining jobs, you get attacked by bugs, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Think Starship Troopers, and while you're there, it's the enemies from Starship Troopers. Are they called arachnids in that? I think they might have been. Okay, that's those all done. Why is that one backwards? Now what? Okay, right, that's very complicated. I need 6 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. And a whole bunch of little things. It's actually not too difficult. I thought it was going to be more difficult than it was, but some of the things were already combined together, thus making it less of a task. Yep, there we are. Yeah, so there's Deep Rock Galactic, which is very fun. It's got surprisingly little jank to it for an early access title. It's a little bit basic at the minute, but they're adding stuff quite a lot. I think I will make a video on that at some point, because the solo playing is pretty good as well. The co-op stuff's really fun, but the solo stuff is also good. But aside from that, Ghost Recon Wildlands is having a free weekend currently. This is a game I fully slept on, to the point where it came out, and the only way I even knew it had come out is because I started seeing like other YouTubers do videos in it. And I watched a few and I thought, yeah, looks okay. Never really thought much about it. And then that's it. And apparently it is a really big game. Like, people are very fond of it. Where does this go? Goes... Oh, it clips in. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so it Ghost Recon Wildlands. I'd not really thought much about it. And then a friend said to me, hey, we should play Ghost Recon Wildlands. And I saw that, I was like, yeah, that just doesn't seem like the sort of game I would play. It seems sort of a bit, honestly, without sounding like an arsehole, a little bit too mainstream for me. But I thought, any game is fun with your friends, so I thought I'd look into it. It just so happened to be on a free weekend, so I downloaded it, about 50 gigabytes, downloaded in an hour. I was very happy with that as a thing. I'm still not used to the novel idea of having internet that's actually reliable. It used to be that if there was a free weekend on something, I'd see it and I'd be like, well, that's great. If I download that when it becomes available, normally around like the Thursday night mark, I might be able to play that on the Sunday. That's what I normally look at, if I'm lucky. Let's see, so there's 2 of these per thing, so I'm going to need 12 of them at least. But I started playing it yesterday, and as I was playing it, I was like, this is the exact kind of game I love. It's like Far Cry, but without the nonsense. And by the nonsense of Far Cry, I mean like the hunting element, which is fun, don't get me wrong, but it takes away from the really fun element, which is knocking over outposts. Oh, well, that was 35 minutes already. I feel like I've done nothing. Maybe I'll go for another 30. That an hour, is that excessive? The thing I've got to be careful of, I've only got so much space on the memory card, because I said to myself before I was doing this, don't do 2 hours, that's obscene. You were sick for days after that. It ruined you vocally. How does this even go on? the other way to what I'm trying. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, after I recorded that 2-hour one, I did it, and it's a weird thing doing a video for that long, because you're not physically tired in any way, but your voice is. Particularly for me, I'm not a talkative person, contrary to what this sort of thing might show you. Anyway, so Ghost Recon Wildlands. I was playing it, I was like, this is perfect for me. I love this sort of game, and the upgrade system seems really cool, and the way you got to gather resources and shit. I'm worried it might become too difficult though. My current tactic is I spend ages encircling a compound. I use my drone to mark everyone there. I sort of mark all my points, and I think, right, who can I take out with a sniper and won't raise any suspicion, and then I do that, and then suspicion is raised, and I just send my guys in to open fire. And I'm of the suspicion that as long as you've marked loads of guys on the map, they'll move intelligently and won't get shot. It's when you send them in with no info, that's when they get in trouble. I'll keep putting these little things on, because they seem to be a good idea. Is that? Yep. It's also very satisfying clipping these together. One more. I had a minor frisbee accident. I shouldn't be putting these onto this one. It lacks stability. When I play ultimate frisbee, I'm not very good at catching the disc sensibly. Ideally, you want to catch it like in both hands like that, or sometimes like that. But you want to sort of catch it and take the energy out of it, so it's absorbed by the arms and the body. I tend to like catching it like a badass, so like it just comes in and you just go like that. So you catch it like that. But boy, this part of your hand takes a lot of stress, and I had a visible bruise there. It's calmed somewhat now, but boy did that hurt. Okay, so I've done these, and now you have to do this, apparently. And also this. Seems like they should nearly be touching. I'm not going to do that for all of them though. I'm going to wait until I see why I have to do that. Because the next stage seems like a fun one. It's just put some of these things on these round dish-like things, which I can do that. That's easy. I think one of the main reasons I didn't think anything of Ghost Recon Wildlands, I have to keep saying it, is because there was the Division, which I don't know if in any way they're related, other than the fact that they both got Tom Clancy's name on them. God rest his soul. He's dead, isn't he? That's a thing. I didn't like the Division particularly. It just seemed a bit dull. But Wildlands feels like it's just a bit more, not dumb, but dumb, essentially. Just a bit more fun to it, a bit more pizzazz. Right. Okay. I've made 6 of them, but should I have? Probably. Now make 6 of these. Just jab that onto that. Good. There's a little knot in the middle that stops you from jabbing them on too far. 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like a real boss, just getting ahead of the whole game here, making all 6 of these at once. It's definitely going to come back to haunt me, isn't it? I know it. I'm glad they told me at the start as well that I wouldn't be needing, or at least they implied that this whole big frame wasn't needed to the end, because otherwise, where would I put it? Would have definitely been easier to poke these through and then put the little tubes on them. I can confirm that with a great certainty. That's just bad, the way they told me to do it in that order. There's no way you'd be able to keep these together otherwise. They're vaguely sword-like. You could get away with imagining that. No, I was going to make Ant-Man hold one. Right, so we've got 6 of these now. Audio may have cut out there for a minute. I wanted to see if I could fit the whole microphone in my mouth. Turns out, yes, I can. A joke which doesn't really work because this microphone's tiny. It's just a little lapel mic. I tell you, that is a goddamn minefield. Is trying to buy microphones without knowing anything about microphones. Because you don't want to spend too much money, but the price range seems to be, you can buy one for 50p, or you can spend £500 on one. There's nothing in between, and quite often you'll see like the £500 one, it'll be like, yeah, it's terrible, don't get it, it's overpriced. Or you'll see the 50p one, it'll be like, yep, brought this, it's fantastic. I often record outside in my shed, my tin shed, while it's raining and hurricanes, and you can only really hear my voice and nothing. And you're like, who are these people? Give me something in between. Just give me something in the 50 quid price bracket. Which, thank God, because of all the like streamers that exist now, there's a market for that sort of thing. So you can get this sort of equipment relatively easily. I'm making some kind of sandwich-like structures. I don't really know why as yet, but there's a lot of them. I think each of these has 2, which if you add that together, that comes to 12, which is frankly an obscene number. I can barely even count to that on a clear day. Let's grab all of them. I'm assuming I just have to put all of these together. This whole bag is just these 6 feet, isn't it? It's somehow impressive. I'm surprised they put them all together. Normally with stuff like that, they'd give you like 2 and then something else, and then give you the other 2 later on, so you wouldn't get bored, or you wouldn't know. He says, basing it on nothing. I wonder if they're making more Lego films. I mean, obviously they must do, but what's going on there? Because they had the Lego movie, which obviously they'd made Lego films before, but they were fully animated, whereas the Lego movie was a mixture of stop motion and animation, and it was like a full theatrical release, and it was really good as well. It wasn't just based on some property; it's based on hundreds of properties. But I heard they're making a sequel to that, and then also there was a Lego Batman spin-off, which that was great. I liked that. It was fun the first time round, not so good the second time. Had some good moments to it. Really, really quite good if you're quite a deep fan of Batman, particularly when they do all the dumb villains. All right, so that's that. And now these go on to here. Like so. And another one goes on facing the other direction. Like that. And then that happens to all of these over again. Okay. And then there was Lego Ninjago, which I now realise is a joke, because if you look at it, it just says Lego Ninja Go, but it's pronounced Ninjago, which I wanted to see because I like Lego films, but I just couldn't get around to it. It was one of them where it just released at a busy time for me, so I didn't get to see it. I'll watch it eventually, but I'm told like that wasn't as good as again. Like it was Lego Movie, Lego Batman for a lot of people, or for some other people, and then Lego Ninjago or Ninjago. So I'm wondering sort of where they go from there, if they're going to make another Lego Movie or more like weird spin-offs. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it because they're always quite fun. I like animation, I like unusual animation as well. I like the stop motion in Isle of Dogs. I really like Kubo and the Two Strings. I watched Early Man. That's claymation. Okay film. It got better as it went on. Turned out to be about football. Wasn't fully aware of that. Like really about football. Like it's more of a football film than anything else. Not a big fan of football or soccer, you may know it as. Right, that's all of them done. That took quite a while. Next step is put these tubes on them. and then put one of these caps on the tubes. And put one of these caps on them. They look like hubcaps, that's what they look like. Actually, no, they look like rims, specifically. Do they go right down? They do. And do that to all of them. Let's just get that going. There's more than enough here, meaning that another purpose will come along, I'm sure. I can almost guarantee that that little hubcap I dropped, there will be spares of that. That's why I haven't tried to pick it up. Whereas those other little pieces, I'm going to be searching for them in a minute, I can tell. I'm actually about to finish this bag, which is quite nice. I wasn't going to finish this today. I was just going to do the time thing, but fortunately it's playing ball and it's not like a big arduous one to put together. I had no process when I threw these around. I put them all down and that was my downfall. Okay, that's that. And now we take these little grey ones, we slide a tube on that way, slide a hubcap on one end, I think. Oh, yeah, it does actually say to do that. With step 1, I immediately skip to step 2 because I'm a fool. And then that goes into that slot. Is it supposed to be the same length, or? I think it's supposed to go through flush, so it looks like that. Which, that already looks very Star Wars-y to me. I feel the key design of Star Wars is it has to look painful to fall on. So you gotta have like bits sticking up like that, and then kind of rounded bits that you couldn't kick off very well. It's key Star Wars design. Painful to fall on. About there. Put that on like that. Good. This is going very well. Swimmingly, one might say. Why would one though? Swimming's one of those things where you know, as a kid you do it a lot, and then as an adult you probably never do it. Except maybe on holiday. This doesn't look right. I reckon I've skipped a step. No. No, it is correct. Where's the one I already did? Oh, it's there. Yeah, okay. Okay, my fear is assuaged. Yeah, I definitely used to, as a child, go swimming probably at least once a week. Definitely used to enjoy it, and then one day you just stop. Is it a point where you develop shame, perhaps? Perhaps that's actually it. And then I just do it on holiday. As a Brit, a holiday or vacation for us just means going somewhere where it's warm and where swimming is acceptable. I feel that's really the only rule for us, because our country is a fair looking one, but it is a cold place. We don't get a lot of sun. We don't get a lot of anything really. We have plenty of culture, so we don't often need to travel for that. You know, we can see culture with ease. If we want a bit of foreign culture, we just pop on over to the continent. That's fine. Well, it was fine. It's going to stop being fine soon, I'm sure. But for a time, it was fine. You could take a train to Paris. How many people can say that? Well, loads of people, actually. There's many trains in Paris. If you've ever played Ticket to Ride, you'll have a good idea of quite how many trains there are to Paris. Ticket to Ride, if you're not aware, it's a board game in which you have to build train lines, which sounds incredibly dull, and realistically it should be, but it's quite a fun game. But it's a game that feels to me like it was designed in have you ever played like one of those video games where you have to run a game studio and design games? Because I have, and in one I used to play, the one I used to play on iOS, when you were building a new game, you'd pick a genre of game, like puzzle, adventure, fighting, that sort of thing. Strategy, for example, would be one. And then you'd pick, so that was the genre, and then you'd pick a theme, like pirate or fantasy or trains, as it was. And if you got those two to match up really well, it would give you a bonus and people would like it. So I was always big into making like pirate adventure games. That was my thing. Because I always like making dumb pun names for it, like Boats Ahoy or, well, that wasn't a good name, obviously, but it would be along those lines. Okay, now we get. There's not actually many bits left. It's throwing me off that there's only 2 of these though. I'm sure it will come up later on how wrong I've been this whole time. Little hubcap. I don't have too many of these hubcaps left, making me think that there's an exact number in there, and I'm gonna have to find the one I dropped. Equally, I know for a fact though that I've got spares of that particular piece in that mug over there that you can't see, but it is there. It's where I put my spares. One day it will fill up, and on that day the world will end. Prediction. Or at least my world will end. I was definitely talking about something and now I've forgotten. Right, so that goes in like that. Look at that. That's something. This set is obscene. So many pieces. It's not even close to a Millennium Falcon yet. That's the thing. I know I'm only on bag 2, but normally like you get somewhere into it and it's like, okay, it's now looking like a knockoff Falcon, and every step here is making it more Falcon-like. But I'm nowhere near that yet. I've put so many pieces together already. It's a definite undertaking. I suppose part of it is because I'm doing it all live on camera. It does make it take a lot longer. It's enjoyable though. It's rather like therapy. I've said it before, I'll say it again. That's my epitaph, isn't it? I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not original. God, I'm so good at doing this. There's one hubcap left. I only require one more for this stage. I only dropped one. The fact that everything's built in 6s makes me think that there was literally one spare, and I should be okay now. It may not be the case. Been watching more anime recently. I've actually been re-watching old stuff I used to watch. In particular, my favourite genre of anime is people being trapped in video games. My favourite genres in total are kids in weird schools, kids trapped in weird places, ideally video games. Those two kind of go together. That's my 2 favourite things. In fact, the one in video games, just anyone trapped in video games is ideal. Alright, so that's good. I watched No Game, No Life again, which is good, slightly confusing. Odd animation style. Why am I picking that up like it's a thing? Right, okay, now it all comes together. So you take this, they're supposed to bend in like that. And this goes, that's it. Really not a whole lot keeping that together, is there? Okay, fine. They're the boss. Angela is the boss, actually, if you do the maths. Actually, they do look like feet. Now that I've put them at a slight distance, that curving up bit actually, yeah, fair play. They clearly know what they're doing. Granted, I'm going to be one short due to my... I can't believe I dropped those 2 bits early on and just shafted myself quite as royally as I have. I said I would, but I didn't think it would come true. It's alright though, I'll find them eventually. It'll give me something to do off screen. So I genuinely have no idea where the fuck they went. I should have looked for them immediately, but they genuinely dropped down and disappeared. I'm going to review the footage, and in doing so, I'm hoping I'll be able to sort of track the noise they made. Either way, there's 6 of those, like a small army stood in front of me. The balls of this guide at the end of doing that one step, it's like, now times 6. It's actually said it twice. Does that mean I have to do 36 of them? Oh, and the next step is just putting them on. In this direction here. Okay, right, so these go on. They fit in like so. Yeah, that felt secure and safe, like a thing you'd want to do. The only thing is, now that I've put these on, this whole affair is no longer flat, which is an issue. Yeah, so I watched No Game No Life, which didn't take very long. It's only like 10 episodes or so, maybe 12. So then I started watching Log Horizon again, which in my mind came out at roughly the same time as Sword Art Online. And initially it felt like they had a similar premise, except I can best describe it as that in Sword Art Online they were trapped in a video game that was like Dark Souls, and in Log Horizon they were trapped in just a like Warcraft MMO. And frankly, it's probably the better anime of the two, because it's way more practical and way more realistic. It's one of the few trapped in a video game animes where they get trapped in there, but your main characters, they're not like fresh level 1s. They're end game, so like they've already got like all the money and all the stuff, and they're like level 90, so they're not just trying to train and get better. It's like, no, we gotta make this place better somehow. Yeah, well, oh, I can put these other bits on actually. Yes, that's a thing I can definitely do. In fact, I can't, because to do that, I need it to stand up, which honestly it will, because it's got 5 legs. 6. Fortunately, the one I didn't put on is not a crucial leg, so I can actually put these bits on. I'll do that now then. Fuck it, why not? I wasn't going to, but it kind of finished us off the bag nicely. I'm gonna do that last leg off screen. You'll never see it happen, but just next time no one tunes into this, it will be there. So that goes there, and that goes underneath in the opposite fashion. Good. And then these two, one goes here, and one here. I can see what's going to happen here is I've got another grey strut, and it's just going to go on the other side eventually once I've capped it into something. This to be exact. So there's a space of 2, and it goes through there. Okay, oh, that actually went on really nicely. And then on the other side, doing this blind, so it may not work. I'm a genius, it's clearly working. Is it working? I think it's worked. It's worked. Okay, so that's on. There is there's too big of a space for that to clip down, and it annoys me. Clearly something's going to go in there, but what? And we're on to bag 3 now. Oh, bag 3's got mini kits. I'm not going to tell you what, that's for next time. Well, thanks for watching. Join me again for another session when we put bag 3. It's got legs now. Incredibly sturdy legs, actually. They really hold together well. There's not actually that much holding them on. It's just 3 pegs, like dowel style pegs, but it seems to work. I'll see you next time.